Islam is one of the world's major religions, with over 1.9 billion followers globally, and traces its origins to the 7th century CE in the Arabian Peninsula. The history of Islam begins with the birth of its prophet, Muhammad, around 570 CE in the city of Mecca, located in modern-day Saudi Arabia. Muhammad belonged to the Quraysh tribe, a respected group within Mecca, and grew up as an orphan, later becoming a merchant. In his early adulthood, he was known for his honesty and integrity, earning him the title Al-Amin, meaning the trustworthy. At the age of 25, Muhammad married Khadija, a wealthy widow 15 years his senior, and together they had several children. It was during this period of relative stability that Muhammad began retreating to a cave in the mountains near Mecca for reflection and prayer. At the age of 40, in 610 CE, Muhammad experienced his first revelation from the angel Gabriel. The angel instructed him to recite words revealed by God, and this moment marked the beginning of Muhammad's prophethood. Over the next 23 years, Muhammad received a series of revelations, which were later compiled into the Quran, the Holy Book of Islam. Initially, Muhammad's message of monotheism, social justice, and equality faced significant opposition from the Quraysh elite, who feared the disruption of their power and the polytheistic traditions of Mecca. As the new faith gained followers, Muhammad and his early supporters faced persecution. In 622 CE, due to increasing threats and violence in Mecca, Muhammad and his followers migrated to the city of Medina, an event known as the Hijra. This migration marked the beginning of the Islamic calendar and the establishment of a thriving Muslim community in Medina. In Medina, Muhammad served not only as a religious leader but also as a political and military leader. He united the various tribes of the region, forming a coalition of Muslims and their allies. Over the next decade, a series of battles, including the Battle of Badr, the Battle of Uhud, and the Battle of the Trench, occurred between the Muslims of Medina and the Quraysh of Mecca. Despite early setbacks, including the loss at Uhud, Muhammad's leadership and the unity of the Muslim community eventually led to a victory at the Battle of Mecca in 630 CE. Upon entering Mecca, Muhammad forgave many of his former enemies, and the Kaaba, a sacred shrine, was cleansed of idols, becoming the holiest site in Islam. Muhammad continued to spread the message of Islam throughout the Arabian Peninsula, and by the time of his death in 632 CE, Islam had become a major force in the region. After Muhammad's passing, leadership of the Muslim community passed to a series of successors known as caliphs. The first four caliphs, known as the Rashidun, rightly guided caliphs, are revered in Sunni Islam for their role in consolidating the Muslim state and spreading Islam beyond the Arabian Peninsula. Under the Rashidun Caliphate, Islam expanded rapidly, reaching regions like Syria, Egypt, and Persia. The Rashidun Caliphate was followed by the Umayyad Caliphate, which, under the leadership of the Umayyad dynasty, oversaw the expansion of the Islamic Empire into Spain, North Africa, and parts of Central Asia. The Umayyads were succeeded by the Abbasid Caliphate, which moved the capital to Baghdad and became a center for culture, science, and intellectual pursuit during the Golden Age of Islam. This period saw major advancements in fields such as mathematics, astronomy, medicine, and philosophy. However, by the 10th century, the Islamic world began to experience fragmentation, with various regions and dynasties gaining more autonomy. The Mongol invasions of the 13th century devastated large portions of the Islamic world, including the destruction of Baghdad in 1258, but Islam continued to thrive in various regions, including the Ottoman Empire in the east and the rise of powerful empires in Persia and India. During the medieval period, Islam spread to sub-Saharan Africa, Southeast Asia, and parts of Central Asia, contributing to the establishment of prosperous civilizations. The Ottoman Empire, which lasted from the 14th century until the early 20th century, was one of the most influential Muslim empires, controlling much of Southeast Europe, Western Asia, and North Africa. The spread of Islam to South and Southeast Asia led to the establishment of Islamic states in India, Indonesia, and Malaysia, and Muslim rulers such as the Delhi Sultanate and the Mughal Empire left a profound impact on these regions. In the modern era, the decline of the Ottoman Empire, colonialism, and the emergence of Western powers brought about significant challenges to the Islamic world. The 20th century saw the rise of new political movements, including the establishment of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia in 1932, the creation of Pakistan in 1947, and the rise of political Islam as a response to Western colonialism and global geopolitics. Today, Islam is a diverse religion with followers in nearly every country, and it is the second largest religion in the world. The Islamic world is characterized by its rich cultural diversity, with a variety of religious interpretations, traditions, and practices. The two major branches of Islam are Sunni and Shia, with the majority of Muslims being Sunni. Shia Islam is predominantly practiced in Iran, Iraq, and parts of Lebanon, while Sunni Muslims are found across a wide range of countries, including Turkey, Egypt, and Indonesia. Islamic principles and teachings continue to shape the lives of millions of people, emphasizing values such as charity, justice, and the worship of one God, Allah. The five pillars of Islam, Sharia, faith, salat, prayer, zakat, charity, Sawm, fasting during Ramadan, and Hajj, pilgrimage to Mecca, are central to the practice of the faith, and Muslims around the world observe these pillars as a way of demonstrating devotion to Allah. Islamic civilization, with its deep intellectual, artistic, and cultural heritage, remains a significant force in global affairs. In recent decades, the global Muslim community has faced numerous challenges, including political upheaval, conflicts, and tensions between secularism and religious identity. The rise of extremist groups, such as Al-Qaeda and ISIS, has led to widespread violence and instability in regions like the Middle East, North Africa, and South Asia. These groups have misrepresented Islam in the eyes of many, contributing to misconceptions about the faith. However, the majority of Muslims worldwide continue to emphasize peace, tolerance, and the core values of Islam. The rise of Islamic fundamentalism in the 20th century was partly a reaction to the perceived cultural, political, and economic domination of Western powers over the Muslim world. This led to movements aimed at reasserting Islamic principles in governance, education, and daily life. One notable example is the Iranian Revolution of 1979, which led to the establishment of an Islamic republic under the leadership of Ayatollah Khomeini, a pivotal moment in modern Islamic history. In contrast, many Muslim-majority countries, such as Turkey, Indonesia, and Malaysia, have adopted varying forms of secularism or mixed political systems, allowing for the coexistence of Islamic values and modern governance. In these countries, Islam is often intertwined with national identity, but there is also a growing debate about the role of religion in public life. The challenge of balancing religious traditions with the demands of modernity continues to be a key issue for many Muslim societies. In the 21st century, Islam's global reach has grown even further with the increasing migration of Muslim populations to Western countries, including Europe and North America. This has led to new challenges in terms of integration, cultural exchange, and understanding between Muslims and non-Muslims. In many Western societies, Muslims have made significant contributions to various fields, including science, business, politics, and the arts, but they also face issues of discrimination and prejudice. Islamophobia, or the fear and mistrust of Muslims, has been on the rise in certain parts of the world, often fueled by political rhetoric and media portrayals of Muslims in negative light. Technological advancements, particularly in the fields of communication and social media, have also played a significant role in shaping the modern practice of Islam. The Internet has allowed Muslims to connect with one another globally, share religious knowledge, and engage in discussions about theology, politics, and culture. This has created new opportunities for interfaith dialogue and increased understanding, but it has also led to the spread of extremist ideologies and misinformation. Another significant development in contemporary Islam is the growth of Islamic finance, which is based on principles of Sharia, Islamic law, that prohibit the payment or receipt of interest, riba, and emphasize ethical investments. Islamic banking and finance have grown rapidly in recent decades, particularly in the Middle East, Southeast Asia, and parts of Africa, and many non-Muslim countries have begun to adopt Islamic financial practices. Islam also faces internal debates about interpretation and reform. Different schools of thought within Islam, such as the Hanafi, Maliki, Shafi'i, and Hanbali schools in Sunni Islam and the Ja'fari school in Shia Islam, offer diverse interpretations of Islamic law and teachings. These differences have led to debates over issues such as gender roles, human rights, the role of the state, and the interpretation of sacred texts. In recent years, there has been a growing movement within Islam for reform, led by scholars and activists who argue for a more modern, progressive interpretation of Islamic principles that embraces human rights, gender equality, and democracy. The role of women in Islam has also been a subject of significant discussion and debate. While traditional interpretations of Islam often placed women in subordinate roles, modern Muslim women have become increasingly active in various sectors, from education to politics to business. There is a growing movement among Muslim women to reinterpret Islamic teachings in ways that support gender equality, empowerment, and social justice. This has sparked a broader global conversation about the intersection of religion, gender, and power. In addition to these social and political challenges, Muslims around the world continue to engage in acts of devotion and worship. The 5 pillars of Islam remain central to daily life, and millions of Muslims continue to observe the rituals of prayer, fasting, charity, and pilgrimage. The annual pilgrimage to Mecca, known as Hajj, remains one of the largest gatherings of people in the world, and it serves as a reminder of the unity of the Muslim Ummah community. The observance of Ramadan, the month of fasting, remains one of the most significant events in the Islamic calendar. During this time, Muslims around the world abstain from food, drink, and other physical need from dawn to sunset, reflecting on spiritual growth, self-discipline, and empathy for the less fortunate. Ramadan concludes with the celebration of Eid al-Fitr, a joyous festival marking the end of the fast. Islamic culture has also had a lasting impact on the world, particularly in the fields of art, architecture, literature, and science. The Islamic Golden Age, which flourished from the 8th to the 14th century, saw incredible advancements in mathematics, astronomy, medicine, and philosophy, much of which was passed down to Europe during the Renaissance. The influence of Islamic art and architecture can be seen in the intricate designs of mosques, the calligraphy that adorns sacred texts, and the towering minarets that are a hallmark of Islamic cities. In conclusion, the history of Islam is vast, complex, and deeply intertwined with the development of human civilization. From its origins in 7th century Arabia to its current global presence, Islam has shaped the lives of billions of people and continues to influence politics, culture, and society. The diversity within the Islamic world, combined with its rich intellectual heritage and spiritual teachings, ensures that Islam remains a vital and dynamic force in the modern world. As it faces contemporary challenges, Islam will undoubtedly continue to evolve and adapt, contributing to global discussions on faith, governance, and social justice. As the 21st century unfolds, the Muslim world continues to face complex and varied challenges while also seeing remarkable advancements in various domains. One of the most significant shifts in contemporary Islam is the way it is practiced and understood in the context of globalization. With increasing interconnectedness through technology, travel, and migration, Muslim communities around the world are becoming more diverse in their experiences and interpretations of the faith. This presents both opportunities and challenges for the global Ummah, as Muslims engage with one another across cultural and geographical boundaries. In particular, the digital age has reshaped how Muslims interact with their faith. Social media platforms, websites, and online forums have become powerful tools for Muslims to share knowledge, engage in discussions, and advocate for issues such as social justice, human rights, and political reform. Islamic scholars and religious leaders now have the ability to reach global audiences, offering guidance and commentary on contemporary issues. However, this connectivity also means that the challenges of misinformation, extremist ideologies, and the manipulation of religious discourse have become more prevalent. Additionally, the rapid pace of technological change has presented both opportunities and dilemmas for the Muslim world. While technology has made education and religious learning more accessible, it has also raised questions about the role of technology in maintaining Islamic values. Issues such as the ethical implications of artificial intelligence, the digitization of religious texts, and the use of social media for spreading religious messages are becoming key topics of debate within the Muslim community. Many Muslims are working to navigate the complexities of these modern challenges while staying rooted in their faith's ethical and moral teachings. The political landscape in the Muslim-majority countries also remains fluid. In the Middle East, North Africa, and parts of Asia, Muslims continue to grapple with issues such as authoritarianism, conflict, and political instability. The Arab Spring, which began in 2010, demonstrated the power of popular movements, but it also highlighted the challenges of balancing Islamic values with democratic governance. The rise of political Islam, as seen in the governance of groups such as the Muslim Brotherhood in Egypt and the political influence of Islamic parties in Tunisia and Morocco, has sparked debates about the compatibility of Islam and democracy. In countries like Iran, the role of religion in governance remains a central issue, as the Iranian model of Islamic theocracy contrasts with secular democratic systems in other parts of the Muslim world. The issue of human rights, particularly regarding freedom of expression, gender equality, and the treatment of minorities, has been a significant point of contention. In some Muslim-majority countries, women have made notable strides in education, employment, and political participation, but challenges related to gender discrimination and patriarchal societal structures remain. The question of women's rights in Islam continues to spark debate, particularly concerning issues like inheritance, marriage, and dress codes. Progressive interpretations of Islamic teachings advocate for gender equality and women's empowerment, while more conservative views maintain traditional roles. Furthermore, religious minorities within Muslim-majority countries, such as Christians, Jews, Yazidis, and others, often face discrimination and persecution, raising questions about the application of Islamic principles of tolerance and coexistence. In some regions, sectarian violence between Sunni and Shia Muslims has led to significant loss of life and destabilization. The need for interfaith dialogue and cooperation has never been more pressing, as religious pluralism is an essential element of many Islamic teachings. Islamic education has also undergone transformations in the modern world. While traditional madrasas, religious schools, continue to play a central role in the religious upbringing of Muslim children, there has been a rise in the establishment of institutions that combine religious education with secular subjects, offering a broader educational experience. This has become increasingly important as many Muslim societies recognize the need to adapt to the challenges of modernity while maintaining a connection to their religious roots. In particular, Islamic universities, like Al-Azhar in Egypt and the International Islamic University in Malaysia, are offering programs that blend Islamic studies with contemporary fields such as law, economics, and science. The role of the Muslim diaspora, particularly in Western countries, has also become increasingly important in the global conversation about Islam. As Muslims live in diverse societies, often balancing their cultural and religious identities with the norms and values of their host countries, questions about integration, multiculturalism, and religious freedom have taken on new significance. Many Muslims in Western countries face challenges related to their identity, navigating the tension between maintaining their religious practices and integrating into a secular, often multicultural society. Issues such as halal food, prayer spaces, religious holidays, and the rights of Muslim women to wear the hijab or niqab have become points of contention in several European countries. However, the presence of a growing Muslim population in the West has also led to greater visibility and influence in political, economic, and social spheres. Muslims have contributed significantly to fields such as medicine, technology, law, and the arts in Western countries. High-profile Muslim figures, such as politicians, athletes, scholars, and activists, have helped reshape perceptions of Islam in the global consciousness. This presence challenges stereotypes and fosters greater understanding, though it also requires continued efforts to combat Islamophobia and prejudice. In the broader global context, Islam's engagement with issues such as climate change, poverty, and social justice is increasingly relevant. Islamic teachings emphasize the stewardship of the earth, the protection of the environment, and the alleviation of poverty, aligning with many global efforts to tackle these urgent issues. Muslim-majority countries, particularly in Africa and Asia, are often on the front lines of climate change and economic challenges, and there is a growing awareness within the Muslim community of the need to address these issues through both policy and grassroots initiatives. The Islamic concept of Ummah, the global community of Muslims, remains a central idea for Muslims worldwide. This notion of solidarity among Muslims, regardless of their nationality or ethnic background, plays a key role in both religious and social life. The Muslim community has historically been a source of support and charity, and this tradition continues through institutions like zakat, charitable giving, and through humanitarian efforts, such as the provision of aid to refugees, disaster relief, and support for those affected by conflict or poverty. Islamic thought continues to evolve in response to both internal and external pressures, with ongoing discussions about Islamic law, Sharia, its role in modern societies, and its relationship with human rights and democracy. Scholars and activists continue to push for reinterpretations of key aspects of Islamic tradition, offering fresh perspectives on issues such as governance, gender roles, and the role of religion in public life. Ultimately, the history of Islam is not a static narrative but an ever-evolving story that reflects the complexity, diversity, and resilience of its followers. As the Muslim world continues to engage with the challenges and opportunities of the modern era, Islam's fundamental principles of justice, peace, and compassion remain central to the faith practice. From the global stage to local communities, the impact of Islam on the world will continue to shape the course of history for centuries to come.